Hello, everyone. Welcome to Viva-Mundo's webinar. My name is Fernanda, and I'll be with you today. Well, a little bit about Viva-Mundo. It exists to help students with information and details required for students abroad. Destinations, degrees, application details, visa information, and lifestyle tips. We have everything you need to set you on your way to the next chapter in your life. In this webinar today, we have here with us Maya Pereira de Andrade, who is intern in direction of global outreach from University of South Alabama. The theme of this webinar will be applying to a US university, what you need to know. Well, if you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the Q&A box on the menu below your screen, and she will answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. I'll hand it over to you now, Maya.
Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Again, my name is Maya. I am the Interim Director for Global Outreach here at the University of South Alabama. And today we're going to talk about, of course, the university itself, but we'll also talk about some tips when it comes to applying to US universities. So things you need to know, maybe some terminology that you may not be familiar with that I think you need to be familiar with and prepare yourself to hear and use. And so after that, I'll take questions and that'll be that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Okay, so just one more time, my name is Maya. I am with the University of South Alabama in the United States. I am the interim director here of Global Outreach. So typically, I am not in an office. I am usually traveling, but of course, with the ongoing pandemic, we are all doing different things. So here I am in the office today. Hopefully, we'll be able to travel to where some of you guys are soon. So here is basically what we're going to go over today. So what some US universities look for, preparing materials, things that you kind of need to know about the application process, what that looks like, some test prep options, what even is test prep, we'll go over that as well, scholarships in the US, and then of course we'll talk a little bit about the University of South Alabama. So first we'll talk about what US universities are looking for. And I just added this first bullet today, actually, based on some recent emails and communication from students via WhatsApp. Just want to stress the importance of professional communication whenever you're dealing with a US or any college, university, or university representative. So I know it's fun to have fun email names or fun pictures on your WhatsApp or WhatsApp names that are just nicknames or things, but it's really important to have a professional way to communicate with representatives. So if your email is like flyguy123, it's probably best to go ahead and create an email with your first and last name, or your first and middle name, something that's professional, clear, and put your question or your comment in the body of the text, in the body of the email, and not in the subject line of the email, because that can be a little bit confusing, or a lot of times your email will be flagged as spam and maybe not make it to the representative. So it's important that you do have a professional email address and you communicate professionally over WhatsApp. So if you would like to know about the school, convey that in a message. It's always important to introduce yourself, where you're from, because we like to know that. We love to know, who we're talking to, where they're from, because sometimes admissions requirements may differ or visa requirements will differ or things like that. So again, really important to have a professional way to communicate with representatives. Secondly is to be informed about the school that you're talking to. It's really important that whenever you're talking to a school, you've been on their website, you've done a little bit of research about where they are. Something as simple as that is really important to know. Whenever if you send an email to a school, where are you? This is something that can be solved with a Google search. So use that to your advantage. Google is your friend, and we love whenever you know about the school. It makes us feel like you have a passion and you're excited, and that makes us excited as well. Of course, we look for admissions requirements being met by you, the student. So meet your admissions requirements, meet your deadlines. If a deadline is October 1st and you come in November 15th and wonder why you can't apply, it's simple because you've missed a deadline. So we keep these deadlines in place for your benefit. We want to make sure that we give you plenty of time to get a visa or submit, raise money for your school or things like that. So that's all very, very important as well. So watch your deadlines and watch your admissions requirements. Any extra documents you want to submit are always welcome. So for schools that maybe don't require a personal statement or a resume or something like that, if you want to submit that, that's completely fine. We love that. It shows that you are excited and you're passionate, and that makes us happy. And then of course, a timely response to emails and communication. Sometimes, emails get buried or they get lost, and that's totally understandable. Convey that whenever you're responding to the university representative or professor or whoever it is you're talking to. Especially when you're reaching out to professors about research opportunities. They've taken the time to respond to you, so definitely make sure that you take the time to thank them or to respond to them with other questions if you have that as well. So these are kind of some general high-level things that universities look for. This is by no means a comprehensive list. Some universities look for very specific things, and some universities are more holistic with their admissions procedures. So again, being informed about the school, doing a little bit of research, 5 or 10 minutes on your phone would be really, really helpful for you and for the university representative. So when it comes to gathering your materials, your application, all the things that go with that, there's a few things first that you'll have to do. So you'll have to decide whether you want to use or can use the college website to apply, or apply via the Common App if you're coming in as an undergraduate student. Some colleges aren't on Common App, and so you have to use the college website, so be mindful of that. Make sure, again, your personal information is correct and clearly written. Make sure you have a professional email address, all of that. In the application, if you want to include any extracurriculars or summer activities that you're doing, if you volunteered somewhere or helped with tutoring somewhere, that's really great for us to know. Essays, so get help on your essays. Let somebody else read your essay before you submit it. Somebody that you trust will actually do a good job and read it and go through it. Any honors or awards, we'd love to see that as well. So make sure that you include that if there's a space for it on the application. And then of course, paying your application fee. Some schools do have waivers. Some of it is under certain conditions. So make sure there's no harm in asking. I get those emails quite a bit. But just be prepared for it to not be a possibility and for you to have to pay that application fee. So that's kind of what you have to do. Your school or your guidance counselor or college counselor will submit your transcript for you. So make sure that you request that with enough time before the deadline to be able to have it submitted. And then make sure if recommendation letters are necessary, make sure that you work with anybody at your school, meaning professors or your counselors or something like that, to be able to submit that in a timely manner. Some tips to remember: prepare early. Don't wait until the last minute. It's your responsibility to ensure that deadlines are met. So ultimately, this is your college application, your journey. We are definitely here to help you and make sure that you don't miss anything important or miss any important deadlines. But again, ultimately, it's your job to prepare early and ask any questions that you have. We love questions. We're happy to get them. And then another tip that's kind of different is make sure that you are preparing for your exams before your final year. So once you get to grade 12 or get to your A-level year, it's important to already be preparing for college entrance examinations, which is what we'll talk about next. So when it comes to test prep for college exams, some universities do require SAT or ACT for admission. Some just require English, some require GPA. So again, we're talking about several thousand colleges and universities. So everybody is a little bit different. But test prep is basically testing material or a website or something like that that can help prepare you for any one of these tests or other tests as well. But your biggest two are SAT and ACT. Probably SAT is what you would be more familiar with. There are some test prep options for English proficiency like TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, ITEP, Pearson, lots of options there. So familiarize yourself with these exams, what they need, what schools need them, so you don't, of course, take them unnecessarily. And again, this goes back to asking questions. You know, if you're not sure what's the best test to take, ask one of us and we'll be happy to help you through that. So some options for test prep when it comes to the SAT, College Board and Khan Academy are really helpful tools. For the ACT, Kaplan's a helpful tool. TOEFL, you have the ETS website, which has really great prep questions. Some of them are free. IELTS website will have, and then of course, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Duolingo app. You can put it on your phone, you do a language for a few minutes a day, and that will kind of help prepare you for the exam. So it's something that's really helpful. Even if you do plan to take the TOEFL, you can download the Duolingo app and work on your English a little bit every day. So that's something that's helpful. So be mindful again of your options. If you're not sure what the best exam to take is, ask and we'll help get you through it. And we're going to talk here about scholarship opportunities. Of course, I always get questions about funding, they're great questions and I'm happy to help answer them. So these are just some resources. This isn't every resource ever that are specifically for funding as far as the university level. So of course, first and foremost, easy enough, you have university scholarships. So we have a few that I'll go over. For graduate students, a lot of times you have assistantships as well. So graduate teaching or research assistantships would be helpful. And a lot of times those do cover your tuition or offer you a stipend or something like that in exchange for your hours every week. Some other resources that I found, this was just through a pretty easy Google search as well, something called Abroad Planet Scholarship Resources. This is basically a community of international students who are studying in the US. So it's a great forum, a great way to be able to get on board and ask questions to people who are already in the US and can give you some real truthful answers. Of course, College Board, you heard me say that when it comes to SAT prep, also is a financial aid source for scholarships, grants, loans for all college-bound students. So this includes permanent residents and international students who are wishing to study in the US. FastWeb is a free online scholarship search service. You have international education financial aid. Same thing, this is designed specifically for international students as well. International Scholarships is a website, free online scholarship database for international students who are wishing to study worldwide. So this isn't just students coming to the US. And then you have the Mobility International USA. This is for non-US citizens, specifically with disabilities. So I do get this question and I thought it was really great that there was a resource for students with disabilities. So definitely check that out. And then you have the UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization website. I'm sure you've heard UNESCO before, and that has a free searchable database for scholarships for international students specifically. So these are a ton of really great resources. Screenshot or save this page or just Google and find some great resources. Again, this isn't all of them, but these are some pretty helpful tools. And so we'll talk a little bit about where I am currently. I'm at the University of South Alabama. We're on the Gulf Coast. So if you see that little red pin right in the southeast of the United States at the bottom of the state of Alabama, that's where we are. Pretty warm and sunny. You can see the sun behind me. So we have about 220 days of sun each year, several beaches close by, and pretty mild temperatures throughout the year. So you can see spring and fall is 25, 26 degrees. Summer is about 32 degrees. So it's definitely warmer in summer. And we do have quite mild winters. As you can see, it's December and I'm in short sleeves, so it's not too bad outside. The city itself is called Mobile. It's the 11th largest shipping port by volume, and it has about 200,000. The population is about 200,000. So it's a mid-sized metropolitan city. The great thing about having the shipping port here is that there's a ton of international companies in the area. This is a great opportunity for you as an international student to do an internship, do OPT, get a job. So some really exciting things happening. And outside of those international companies, we have tons of organizations that are US based or national organizations that are great opportunities as well. And the university has great relationships with these companies. The University of South Alabama itself is about 14,000 students, so it's a mid-sized public institution. Our average class size is about 20 to 22 students. We have a ton of really great degree programs that are available for you, ranging from biology to chemistry, engineering, education, math, dance, art, you name it. And so we'll go over those next. We are a high-level research institution. I'll talk a little bit about that in a little while. And we do have a lot of really great student organizations that you can be a part of. These are a few shots of our campus. So as you can see, tons of green open spaces, nice fresh air. You can walk from anywhere to anywhere else on campus. One side to the other would take you about 15 minutes or so now, as far as walking. Some of these buildings are academic buildings. Some of them are, we have our recreation center, and then you see below that is our Meisler Hall, which is basically, that's where I am currently, and it's basically a lot of our administrative offices as far as scholarship, financial aid, international admissions, and immigration. So those are those two photos on the left. The middle top is our honors college, and below that is our College of Engineering and School of Computing. And then top right, we have College of Business, and below that, we have an event on campus. We do have a really great week of welcome, which is a 1 week, really fun, jam-packed few days with a lot of really great events welcoming students to campus. And this is all students, so you'll get to meet people from all over the world and of course from the US. So as I mentioned, we do have about 100 different degree programs, and they do range pretty greatly. As you can see, we do have 8 really amazing colleges on campus, as well as our honors college. So first and foremost, our College of Allied Health Professions has things like physical therapy, occupational therapy, audiology, etc. Our College of Arts and Sciences, this is going to be the greatest number of programs in a college. So you have everything from arts to communications to marketing, to mathematics, to psychology, to marine sciences. So lots of great options there. Our College of Education and Professional Studies houses our instructional design and development program, ed leadership, things like that. Our College of Engineering has the 5 main broad concentrations for engineering, so civil, mechanical, electrical, chemical, and computer engineering. We do have some math and PhD programs in there as well. Our School of Computing houses our IS and IT programs, computer science, of course, computing, health informatics, things like that. Our Mitchell College of Business at the undergraduate level has a lot of really great foundational programs like economics, finance, marketing, management, supply chain, of course, general business, international business as well. We do have a fantastic MBA program and a doctorate in business administration. Our College of Nursing has our BSN programs, NP programs, DNP programs as well. So definitely one of our popular colleges on campus. And then our College of Medicine houses our basic medical sciences PhD. So this is a 4 to 5 year research PhD. It's fully funded. It's an amazing opportunity for students who are interested in the field of medical research. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we are a high-level research institution. We have 18 different research centers. So as you can see, they vary pretty greatly, from cancer to marine life to public policy, archaeology, and things like that. These are just a few of them, just to show you that we do have quite a broad range. And in those 250 student organizations that I mentioned earlier, a few of them are shown here. Our department is called Global USA, and it houses international admissions, immigration, of course, global outreach. Like myself, we have study abroad programs as well. And our international student programs coordinator does a lot of really amazing fun events for our international students. So starting with picking you guys up at, at the airport, to making sure that you're situated and get your housing and know where you're staying and things like that. We do have fun events like Holy. We celebrate tons of international holidays on campus. We do have a brand new American football stadium where we do tailgating every weekend. So lots of really fun opportunities to get involved outside of the classroom. It's important to make sure that we have the program that you want and the research that you want, but of course, outside of the classroom makes for a really great, well-rounded education. And so now I'll just kind of go through quickly our admissions requirements, cost, and scholarships, and then we'll wrap it up and answer any questions. So our admissions for undergraduate students, I know I talked about a lot of different things earlier as far as, additional documents that may be required. For us, it's just the academic records and the testing requirement. So it's really important to make sure that you're doing well in high school and then submit one of these tests that are listed here. And as you can see, there's a ton of different options. And so that's why those test prep options that I mentioned earlier are really helpful to make sure that you do as well as you can on these exams, because the SAT for us is used for scholarship awarding. So you want to make sure that you have the highest score possible. That's something that we definitely want to stress for our incoming students. Once you're admitted, you'll submit your financial affidavit, bank statements, and a copy of your passport to our immigration office. She'll process your I-20, you'll get your visa, and we'll see you on campus. For graduate students, it varies slightly by program, but we can just go over the general admissions requirements here. So the academic records is the GPA of 3.0 out of 4. That's going to be a pretty general requirement that you'll see across the board. You have your testing requirement as well. Not quite so many options and a little bit of a higher threshold here, but again, you are applying for a graduate program, so it is to be expected. A lot of our programs do require the GRE, and our MBA does definitely still require the GMAT. The letters of recommendation, statement of purpose, maybe a virtual interview, things like that, all will vary by the program. And so if there is a specific program that you're interested in, I can definitely kind of point you in the right direction to find the correct admissions requirements. And same here, you'll do the financial affidavit, bank statements, and the copy of your passport after you're admitted into the program. This is just a quick snapshot of our general cost breakdown. There's a lot of cost to consider whenever you're planning to study in the US, but definitely doable with scholarships and things like that. So definitely make sure that you do look into the scholarships that I mentioned earlier. And then I'll show you some that we have on our campus as well. So the undergraduate tuition is around $16,000, graduate is around $11,000. And as you can see, the living expenses, health insurance, and books are listed just below that. It's the same for undergraduate or graduate students. So for 1 year, the undergraduate study is about $29,000, and 1 year, the graduate study is about $24,000. Now our undergraduate programs are 4 years. So you would multiply that number by 4 to kind of calculate the total cost of your education. And for graduate study, typically it's 2 years. All right, here is our undergraduate scholarships. Our Global Freshman Scholarship, as I mentioned, is based on SAT or ACT. Typically, we see the SAT more than we see ACT. So the minimum here is a 1060. The higher you score, as you'll see, the more money, scholarship money you're eligible to receive. This is a competitive scholarship, but you're automatically considered for the award. So again, make sure your GPA is as high as it can possibly be. And so that's going to be your top 2 tables. If you don't have SAT or ACT, it's not to worry. We do evaluate based on English proficiency for some smaller scholarships as well. So that's another really great opportunity. And then our transfer students, we did not forget you. We do have a few scholarships available. So 3.0 to 3.49 transferring GPA will get you 2,000, and then a 3.5 or higher would get you about 4,000. And since we don't offer graduate scholarships outright, we do have amazing assistantship opportunities. So definitely when you're looking to apply, reach out to the departments, see if there's an assistantship available, see what they require. And a lot of times they do have that information listed on their website. So make sure that you do that research as well. And finally, this is my contact information. Again, my name is Maya. I am the Interim Director for Global Outreach here at the University of South Alabama in the US. I have my email, my WhatsApp, and then of course a QR code where you can learn more. And what we'll do now is we'll dive into the Q&A. So the first one is the cost of living. So it's about $8,600 per year to attend and live on campus and have a meal plan here at the University of South Alabama. We do have about 33 different residence halls on campus. They're situated in seven different residential communities, but they're all on campus. So you're able to walk everywhere you need to go. And some of them are single rooms, so you can choose to live on your own or you can choose to live with roommates. So it's completely up to you depending on how much you want to spend as far as living on campus. But they're either all brand new or renovated residence halls, and they're very safe and secure. So after sunset, you have a swipe to get into the building and a swipe to get into your hallway as far as your key. So those are really helpful. Of course, parking as well if you do come here and decide to get a car while you're here at the university. A third question was, can I work and study on a graduate course? Another great question. So you can do a GA or a TA if you want to do an assistantship. If you want to work on campus, you can do that up to 20 hours per week in any office or anywhere that's hiring. We do have job fairs that will basically showcase all the available positions for students. You can apply there or get more information at any of these job fairs. And then the final question that I have in our Q&A before we move on to our registration questions is, how are you dealing with COVID? Do you have online classes? So last year, everything was completely online. This year, we've moved back to more of our regular hybrid model where you meet typically once or twice a week, and then the rest is going to be online. So we do encourage students to be in a class just because it is part of that full holistic experience. So we are still practicing social distancing and encouraging mask wearing on campus. As you know, in order to enter the US right now, you have to be fully vaccinated anyway. But we do offer vaccinations and testing on campus as well. So I think I have answered all 4 of the Q&A questions, and I think we have a few registration ones.
Yes, we have a few. The first question is, I want to pursue a master's degree in law that is intellectual property and technology law. Is this course available?
Yeah, so in the US, as it sounds like this person knows, law is a professional career, professional course. So what you'll do is you'll do your first 4 years in your undergraduate, typically political science or communication, something like that. And then you'll be able to apply to law school. So we don't have a law school on campus, unfortunately, but the student can definitely do their undergraduate coursework with us.
And the next one is, what is essential to get into a good scholarship?
That's a great question and a broad question. That really depends, again, on the scholarship that's being offered. So for our particular university scholarships, we look for SAT or ACT and GPA, or the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo and GPA. Some of those scholarship databases will show you that some scholarships require an essay, some scholarships require just to fill out a Q&A form, some scholarships require a test. So it all really depends on whatever it is that you're applying for, which is why those search engines that I mentioned earlier would be a great tool for this student to see what's out there and what they need to prepare in order to apply.
Okay, thanks. The next one is, how to apply for graduate studies for public health?
So we have a public administration program. It's not public health. Our public health is online. But for the MPA program, you would have to submit of course, your application, your undergraduate coursework, your English proficiency exam, and a GRE as well. There's a minimum score, but the student would have to submit that to be able to apply.
Okay, thanks. And the last one, I would like to know how to write a good introduction letter to you.
That's a great question. So writing an intro letter or a statement of purpose or a letter of intent is it varies depending on what you're trying to convey. The biggest thing is showing, that you're excited about studying, showing what sorts of things you're passionate about, and also showcasing any awards or extracurriculars or volunteer work that you've done to show the best side of yourself, to show that you're a well-rounded candidate, to show that you're excited and passionate about studying at the particular university. And then just sharing some information about yourself, what you're planning to study, what you're planning to do with that career, why you chose this career, why you're interested in it, things like that would all be really beneficial when it comes to writing a letter.
Okay, thanks. This was the last one that we have here. We don't have any on the Q&A. So before we finish, do you want to add something else?
I think that's pretty much it. I just want to encourage everyone watching to do your homework and ask questions. When it comes to studying in the US, we are literally here and happy to help. I know everybody at BMI is, and everybody at the universities in the US are all excited to help answer questions. And so don't be discouraged by the overwhelming number of universities in the US, but just try to narrow it down based on your interests and then ask as many questions as you can.
Well, thank you, Maya. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, for answering all the questions posted here. And if you want to get in touch with Maya, you have her email address and her telephone. And thank you, everyone that participated with us today, depends on you are. And see you in the next webinars. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.